What's going on, family? I'm Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to continue to examine 100 years of World Championship fights. February 8th, 1950. Jersey Joe Walcott knocks out Harold Johnson, 3 rounds in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, in 1936, Walcott would knock out his father, Phil Johnson. 3rd round, same punch, same arena, same results. The only difference is Phil Johnson had complained about having a bad back. Now, the fight took place at the Philadelphia Arena. Harold Johnson weighed 180 pounds, and he would lose the contest to Jersey Joe Walcott, who weighed 197 pounds. Referee was Dave Biloff, and he stops the contest 1 minute and 3 seconds into the 3rd round. 7,500 spectators paid $32,519 to witness this event. Now, Harold Johnson, he was the son of Phil Johnson. Born August 9th, 1927. Fought from 1946 to 1971. He had a total bout career of 87 fights, 76 wins, 31 knockouts, and 11 losses. He died February 19th, 2015. He was 87 years of age at the time of his death, and he would reside in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting Harold Johnson. Learned a great deal from Harold Johnson. He stood 5 foot 10 inches. He was a light heavyweight and had a 74-inch reach. He would spend his last days in Montauk, Pennsylvania. Now, Dr. Joseph L. Levy, commissioner, the physician, carries Johnson out of the ring on a stretcher. Claimed he had a dislocated disc. Sounds like the same diagnosis his father had. Amazing. Tuesday, January 24th, 1950. World Light Heavyweight Champion Freddie Mills loses his title to Joey Maxim 10 rounds in London. Now, Joey Maxim would now become the new World Light Heavyweight Champion at Earl's Court Express Hall in Kingston, London, United Kingdom. Freddie Mills was 30 years old. He stood 5 foot 10 and a half inches. He weighed 173 pounds. He had a 72-inch reach and walked into the ring with a record of 77 wins, 17 losses, 6 draws, and 55 knockouts. Joey Maxim was 27 years old. He stood 6 foot 1 inch and weighed 174 pounds. He had a 71.5-inch reach and had a record of 68 wins, 16 losses, 4 draws, and 15 knockouts. Now, who was Freddie Mills? They called him Fearless Freddie. He was born June 26, 1919. Bournemouth, Dorset. 7 Terrace Drive. He died July 25th, 1965, in Bournemouth, Dorset. Now, he fought from 1936 to 1950. Had a record of 101 total bouts, 77 wins, 18 losses, 55 knockouts, and he was stopped himself 7 times. He had 1 no decision. Now, he defeated such men as Gus Lesnovich. That's where he would win the World Light Heavyweight Championship belt. And he would lose to Joey Maxim and lose his title. He was a club owner. He was arrested in a public restroom, charged with claims of murdering 8 prostitutes. It was stated that Freddie Mills would commit suicide. Now, he faced Joey Maxim. And who was Joey Maxim? He was born on March 28, 1922, Cleveland, Ohio. He died June 2nd, 2001. He was 79 years of age at the time of his death, and he would reside in Cleveland, Ohio. I believe I mentioned that I met Joey Maxim as well. He was a very good humanitarian, I would say, as far as I know of him. And he had a total bout career of 116 fights, 83 wins, 29 losses, 22 knockouts. He was stopped once himself, and he had 4 draws. Defeated fighters such as Floyd Patterson. But he lost to Carl Bobo Olsen. Defeated Ray Robinson, Ezzad Charles, Joe Walcott, Archie Moore, Irish Bob Murphy, Danny Nardico, very tough individual he was, Tiger Ted Laurie, Paul Andrews, Gus Lesniewicz are some of the opponents he was in the ring with. Joey Maxim becomes the brand new World Light Heavyweight Champion on a Tuesday night, January 24th, 1950, when he defeats Freddie Mills. Wednesday, June 22nd, 1949. Ezzad Charles defeats Jersey Joe Walcott at the Chicago Comiskey Park as referee Dave Miller awards Charles the NBA World Heavyweight Championship bout after Joe Louis would vacate his belt and chooses both Walcott and Charles at a crack at his crown. Joe Louis from the International Boxing Club earned 50% of the gate. Charles and Walcott earned 25% each. 25,932 fans paid $246,546 for admission. The Ring Magazine, British Boxing Board of Control, New York SAC, the European Boxing Union, had only recognized Charles as the world champion after Louis would defeat Lou Savoy September 1950. Ezzad Charles was 27 years old. He stood 6 foot, he weighed 182 pounds, and had a 73-inch reach. Fought from 1940 to 1959. Walked into the ring with a record of 62 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, and 34 knockouts. Walcott was 35 years old. He stood 6 foot, weighed 196 pounds, had a 74-inch reach. He fought from 1930 to 1953. And he walked into the ring with a record of 42 wins, 15 losses, 1 draw, and 26 knockouts. Ezzad Charles is to your left. And Jersey Joe Walcott is to your right. Now I'm going back and forth with the dates for a specific reason. Friday, November 15th, 1947. Federal Point, Florida, heavyweight. Elmer Violent Ray defeats Jersey Joe Walcott, 10 rounds, unanimous decision. New York's Madison Square Garden. Referee was Johnny Burns. He awards Ray with a verdict. And this was controversial for Jersey Joe Walcott. And many spectators felt as though Walcott was robbed of the Violent Ray fight and robbed with the Joe Louis fight, 1947. March 4th, 1947. Walcott defeats Violent Ray. It was at the Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida. Walcott would earn $15,000. Ray would earn $25,000. He had 10,000 in the audience. Walcott was 32 years old. He stood 6 foot and weighed 192 pounds. He had a 74-inch reach. Walked into the ring with a record of 39 wins, 12 losses, 1 draw, and 26 knockouts. As for Violent Ray, he was 35 years old. He stood 6 foot 2 inches. He weighed 195 pounds. Fought from 1933 to 1949. Walked into the ring with a record of 88 wins, 19 losses, 11 draws, and 60 knockouts. Now, who was Elmer Violent Ray? There was Elmo John Ray. Born March 3rd, 1911, in Federal Point, Florida. He died May 22nd, 1984, in Hastings, Florida. I met Elmer Violent Ray as well. Now, he fought again in July 25th, 1947, against the Cincinnati Cobra, Ezzad Charles, New York's Madison Square Garden. Now, in this fight, Violent Ray was 36 years old. He stood 6 foot 2 inches and he weighed 194 pounds. He had a record of 93 wins, 20 losses, 11 draws, and 64 knockouts. Ezzad Charles fought from 1940 to 1959. He was 26 years old. He stood 6 foot and he weighed 175 pounds and had a 73-inch reach. He walked into the ring with a record of 47 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, and 24 knockouts. Violent Ray had a total bout career of 134 bouts, 97 wins, 23 losses, 11 draws, and 69 knockouts. He had 13 unbelievable fights with Obi Walker. Amazing. And Obi Walker was a colored heavyweight champion at one time. So Elmer Violent Ray was a remarkable fighter. I consider him part of the Black Murderers Row. Jersey Joe Walcott would get his just due, as well as Ezzad Charles. 1949. Shout out to Jersey Joe Walcott, Ezzad Charles, Elmer Violent Ray. Now, Wednesday, September 27th, 1950. The new NBA World Heavyweight Champion, Ezzad Charles, defeats former 12-year reign World Heavyweight Champion, Detroit's Brown Bomber, Joe Louis, at New York's Yankee Stadium. It would be Ezzad Charles' second defense of his crown. Ezzad Charles would make his highest earnings yet, $50,405, while making his 4th NBA title defense. Now, even after 2 years and 3 months of retirement, Joe Louis was the favorite of earning 2-to-1 odds, $100,458,000. Amazing. Now, both men brought 22,357 fans to New York's Yankee Stadium. They grossed $205,370. Between radio and television rights, $140,000 was the total. Now, the fans would view the fight on CBS Sports. Joe Louis, who was 36 years old, he stood 6 foot 1.5 inches, weighed 218 pounds, and had a 76-inch reach. Fought from 1934 to 1951. Had a record coming into this fight of 58 wins, 1 loss, and 49 knockouts. Ezzad Charles was 29 years old. He stood 6 foot and had a 73-inch reach. He weighed 185 pounds. He fought from 1940 to 1959, and he walked into the ropes with a record of 66 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, and 37 knockouts. Now, the British Border Control had recognized Lee Savoy as a heavyweight champion. They didn't recognize Charles. And when Louis KO'd Lee Savoy, June 1951, the British Boxing Board of Control had recognized Charles as a champion after he would defeat Joe Louis. Remarkable. Remarkable. So Ezzad Charles was in the history books. He would now solidify his World Heavyweight Championship crown when he defeated Walcott for the vacant NBA crown. He wasn't fully recognized. He had to solidify it by defeating Joe Louis, and that he did. He can now move on to bigger and better things. But that was an accomplishment. I mean, let's go back in time. Ezzad Charles was a bona fide amateur star. He had a record of 42-0. He was a featherweight. Won titles from featherweight as amateur to the heavyweight division. Now, the only other person I can think of that would accomplish something like that would be Sam Langford. He would win the Boston Amateur Championship. 1902. and he would win a colored heavyweight championship, defended 5 times. So shout out to Ezzad Charles, and always a shout out to Joe Louis. These men would get it on September 27, 1950, New York's Yankee Stadium. March 14th, 1951, Chicago's welterweight top-ranked contender, Johnny Bratton, who's to your right, defeats New Jersey's welterweight. He was a challenger for Sugar Ray Robinson's, and matter of fact, he was the last title defense of Sugar Ray Robinson's title, Charlie Fusari. And Ray Robinson would vacate his crown to move up for the middleweight division. And so Johnny Bratton would face Charlie Fusari. Fight took place in Chicago, 15 rounds. And he would defeat Charlie Fusari. Now, Charlie faced fighters such as Ray Robinson. He was born August 9th, 1950 is when he fought him. 15 rounds, Roosevelt Stadium. Jersey City, New Jersey. And he would fight fighters such as Gil Turner and Rocky Graziano and Tony Gennaro. Now, Charlie Fusari stood 5 foot 10 inches. He was a welterweight and fought from 1944 to 1952. He was born August 20th, 1924. In Sicily, Italy. He died November 1st, 1985. He was 61 years of age at the time of his death, and he would reside in Irvington, New Jersey. I met Charlie Fusari. May 18th, 1951. World welterweight champion. Chicago's Playboy, Johnny Bratton, will lose his NBA title to Kid Gavilan. Geraldo Gonzalez, Cuban Hawk. Born January 6, 1926, Cuba, Havana. Died February 13th, 2003. 77 years of age at the time of his death, and he would reside in Havana, Cuba. Now, I went over his career once before. He stood 5 foot 10 and a half inches. He had a 71-inch reach, fought from 1943 to 1958. Had a total bout career of 143 fights, 108 wins, and 28 knockouts. Lost 30 fights. Was in the ring with fighters such as Vince Martinez, Ray Robinson, Billy Graham, Ralph Tiger Jones. Johnny Bratton. He was known as the Honey Boy. He was born September 9th, 1927, Chicago, Illinois. He died August 15th, 1993. He was 65 years of age at the time of his death, and he would reside in Little Rock, Arkansas. I met Johnny Bratton as well. Now, he was 5 foot 9. He was a welterweight and fought from 1944 to 1955. He had a total bout career of 88 fights, 61 wins, 34 knockouts, 24 losses, and he was stopped 3 times. Now, the majority of times he was stopped was from a broken jaw or broken hands. He was in the ring with guys like Ralph Tiger Jones, Chico Verona, Bobby Dykes, Lester Felton, Holy Mims, Gene Hairston. They called him Eugene Dummy Hairston. I believe now they call him Gene Silent Hairston. I'll talk about him a little later on in the series. He was also in the ring with Joe Brown, who would become a lightweight champion. He would also fight fighters such as Chuck Taylor and Danny Bang Bang Wapner, Chico Vijar, Ike Williams, Chalky Wright, Charlie Fusari. Incredible fighter both these men were.